episode 4. So Maggie, Callum's mum, she was like, what's happening with Mercy Point? And Callum was like, this is the quote, I got tired of a game I couldn't win. Now that really struck a chord for me. Me growing up, obviously, like, you know, there's this saying of, obviously, black people have to work twice as hard, obviously, because of the colour of their skin and the society that we live in. And there is racism, you know, when people try to say, oh, there's no racism, there's no upfront racism, but there is racism out there, you know, pretty much. And yeah, that really did hit a nerve, because it's like, you know, you're fighting for yourself. For me as a black woman, you know, you're fighting for yourself, but then you got this oppression as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you make it, you're the special one. It's like, I don't want to be the special one. I just want to be the person who, you know, I just want to be me, you know. So yeah, there is that kind of vibe, you know. You gotta work hard, or he just was tired of fighting a fight that he felt like he couldn't win, and I respect that, I understand that, but you can't stop. Right, so yeah, so the police, yeah, raided Callum's house, and at this point I thought that Jude was gonna get arrested, but it wasn't Jude. Callum got arrested because Seffi spoke to her dad about how she knew about the bomb or whatever, or something like that, or how Callum knew about the bomb or something like that. And yeah, like Callum gets but dragged out from his house into the station, and he's getting beaten up, getting questioned. Callum says that, you know, to Seffi that you're a tourist, all that business. I thought it was quite interesting, because basically I believe that everyone experiences different things depending on who they are, you know. You know, what you talk about is from your own experience, So Callum goes and says to Seffi, you're a tourist in her country, basically. So that basically means that you don't know what's going on in this world. And that kind of just made me think, like, okay, there's like, if you are a person, for me, if you're a person of color, your experience will be different to a person who is you know, white, you know, because obviously there's that white privilege, you know what I mean, white and male, do you know what I'm saying, you know. So there's that, and that was quite interesting to see that kind of dynamic. Yes, so when Ryan McGregor is on trial, there's some powerful things that I saw in his speech, but let me talk about the scenery. So the courtroom, I'm just saying, from what I've seen on TV courtrooms, is obviously of a lot of older white males with white wigs. So that's what I've seen on TV. I've never been inside a courtroom, thank the Lord. But yeah, that's what I've seen. So when inside Noughts and Crosses, I can tell that obviously that they made the effort of showing the world in the cross world and how their courtrooms would look like. I haven't been to any place in Africa, so I don't know what the courtrooms look like there, but like I said, so it was in our world, it's basically obviously white males with white wigs. In Noughts and Crosses, we see African women with their head wrap, basically head wraps. So for me, that was quite interesting to see that difference, you know, between you know, the world that we live in and Noughts and Crosses. Right, on the trial, Callum talks about being stopped and searched, basically, as a naught. So he says that over the space of 7 years that he was stopped 300 times. Now, to me, I don't know about the number. For me, that's not quite shocking, because a lot of males, black males that I know, have been stopped and searched, you know, several times. I don't know if they're counting, but it's not something that is abnormal to me to hear. I've never been stopped and searched ever, but that's because I'm not a black male, I'm black female, you know, do you know what I'm saying? So it was quite interesting to see a naught guys talking about that, and that was authentic to me, you know, when Callum was talking about those kind of things, as in this actual normal thing for him in his world, you know, which is really sickening, you know. And then when Seffi and Callum are having a conversation while Callum's getting a drink outside, like a court break, yeah, Seffi was shocked about, you know, the stop and search like 300 times, blah, blah, stuff like that. And then he says to her, she says, I never had to think about that. And then he said, you wouldn't, you know, which is quite interesting, you know. So yeah, how would she know? If she's a cross girl, she's completely opposite to a naught guy, how would she ever understand about being stopped several times? You know, she never thought about it because, you know, it doesn't happen to her, you know. So that was quite interesting. Ryan's speech, oh my god, his speech was very iconic for me because there was so much points in it that really hit home for me. So you know, when Ryan is on the stand and he's being judged basically, and one of, I think, the defense attorney, he asked, why did you do it, why did you do the bombing? And Ryan's response is saying, you know why we act our certain ways, because of the lives that they live as a naught, the injustice basically, you know. Basically he said, the way you clutch your bag tighter when one of us passes us, basically something like that. I'm misquoting it, but that is so interesting because it's like, yeah, I mean, in our world, if a black guy was, you know, it's the middle of the night, whatever, or whatever, you know what I mean, you're holding your purse, you know what I mean, because you need to feel safe, you know what I'm saying, you know, which is really, really sad, you know what I'm saying. And the media does basically encourage that from like the films that we see, young black men, you know what I'm saying, robbing and stuff like that. So anyway, and then Ryan McGregor talks more about the injustice in news. It focuses on cross issues. So say for example, maybe like praising cross people and praising cross people and showing them in a good light, and then when noughts are put on the news, it's more about the crime, the thugs, the thieving, you know. So if anybody who is not a naught, or in our world a person of color, of course you're going to be scared when you see them in real life, you know. You're going to be like, wow, that person could do this to me, you know. And it really shows about what media does to give us the idea of what certain people are like, you know. And it still happens today where obviously, like, you know, people of color are shown, black men are shown in a negative light, so of course that's gonna make people feel some type of way, you know. So I feel like there was so much things that he touched on that I feel like people who have mainly not seen it in that way have come to the realization of what's being shown and what, yeah, like about the racism that we see on TV, media, and how we feel in society about people of colour, you know, or noughts in Noughts and Crosses, you know. So that really did hit home. It was so strong and important to me that he said these things, you know, because I could totally understand where he's coming from. Oh, what was interesting, when the ruling was that Ryan McGregor, Callum's dad, got 30 years, Seffi was devastated. She was like, oh my god, you know, in her face. And Callum was kind of like relieved, and so was Maggie. So for me that was quite interesting to see that, because it means that they're happy for their dad because they know it could be worse. They're happy for Ryan to be in prison than to be killed, lynched or something, you know. And that's quite interesting. How sad is that, that, you know, you're happy for a result for somebody to lose their freedom, and what could be worse is killing, you know, being murdered, you know, by the state. It's disgusting, you know, and it's just interesting. It's very interesting to see that. Oh, what killed me the most was when Ryan was killed in prison. Obviously we know that Ryan is innocent, and it was just disgusting that he got, you know, murdered in prison, and you know, it's disgusting. I mean, we know the truth by the end of that episode, but obviously not all the characters don't know what exactly happened in prison.